Hey guys, this is Justin. Hello and welcome to another video. Today we are talking Indiana Jones 5, and I gotta say, after Indiana Jones 4, I never thought I'd be talking about an Indiana Jones 5, but here we are. I gotta say, it was hard not to be bummed going into this movie based on kind of the reaction to it. Honestly, the reviews by people I've seen have been pretty good, but The Dial of Destiny will probably be the biggest box office flop of the summer, considering at least its massive budget. But still, let's talk the movie, and I'm going to go into it full spoilers. If you want my non-spoiler impression, I'll just say it like this. I actually really enjoyed this one, more than Crystal Skull, and maybe even more than Temple of Doom, but I don't know. That's a tough one because as a kid, I really didn't like the tone of that movie, and I guess I've never really gotten over it. But let's talk full spoilers. So, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. I thought this was nearly a great Indiana Jones movie, which was held down by a few choices. One thing I love though, this movie did something that Temple of Doom and Crystal Skull didn't, but which the other two movies did, and that is put you in awe of history. Now, are Indiana Jones movies historically accurate? No, of course not. They don't attempt to be. They're basically the serials version of history, but there's absolutely no doubt that the original Indiana Jones trilogy inspired many to look further into history and to fall in love with it, and I feel like that's something this movie will do as well. And I don't know, there's a fun feeling to that, I think. I also thought the first third of this movie was great. I guarantee that if box office wise things had gone differently, there would be more Indiana Jones movies coming out, and I think they'd be set in the past. The sequence on the train, it was a little bit wonky, especially because Indy was using his old Indy voice while looking like young Indy, but it was fun and it managed to capture some of the best parts of, say, The Last Crusade. I also really liked the New York sequence. I think it makes sense how Indy's life progressed. I was pretty surprised that they killed his son off screen. It definitely gave some Han Solo and The Force Awakens vibes, but I really liked the way his character progressed from that point. And of course, there's a different ending, but I thought Indy trying to grapple with sort of the same problems, students not paying attention, but also now hitting up against modern life, the moon landing, I thought that was all really great. It was different than what we'd gotten past Indiana Jones movies, but I mean, that's kind of the point with the time jump. I thought it worked well. Also, Basil Shaw, the Oxford University archaeologist, I thought he was a great character, and I really liked the scene too, where a younger but older Indy goes to his house in the middle of the night to take one half of the Dial of Destiny. Let's talk about that point. The Dial of Destiny, it's in the title, it's obviously the MacGuffin driving the movie. First of all, I didn't really understand what it was doing. I thought that it was going to create some fissures through time. Rather, it locates them, I suppose. I think that was probably clear enough, but I just kind of had it in my mind one way because Indiana Jones movies, usually the artifact is one of magic, this time more of science, and that is something the Nazi points out multiple times, so kind of on me. But of course, we're also introduced to Phoebe Waller-Bridge's character, also known as Helena Shaw. Now, I didn't love her character. One of the weaker parts of the movie for me, I think she was just too, I don't know, she was too much on the nose of the rogue with the heart of gold. And I don't know, there was no nuance to her really. Like, it was so obvious what was going on the entire time. I enjoyed her character much more in the later stages of the movie, and honestly, the beginning and the end I thought were the strongest parts. That the end might be controversial, we'll talk about that later. This movie, for what it was, way too long, 2.5 hours, and the middle parts really felt like they were just trying to play Indy's greatest hits. The chase through Tangiers, the diving, the later stuff in Greece. You needed to cut probably 2 of those 3 things out and make whatever remains just more interesting. I think it would have been cool if they kept the diving section and maybe had them discover some underground tomb, work through it like that, maybe take more time to flesh out the crew on the ship, focus more on Indy's personal life and how he's struggling to cope with the loss of his son, because I thought that scene was great and really touching, but it kind of gets lost. Just way too many chases, way too many stealing cars, and after a while, that really starts to take away from the overall movie. That's the same with Teddy. Nothing against the actor who played Teddy. I thought he did a really good job in the role, but Teddy as a character, it just felt like a little much and it distracted from Indiana Jones and what was, or what is, his final movie. I've got to say, I haven't really looked into too many reviews of the movie. I wanted to go in completely fresh. One complaint that I expect to see is that, well, Indiana Jones didn't really do much. He didn't didn't really defeat the bad guys, and that's kind of what Indiana Jones does. I think it's probably most prominent in Raiders, where he literally just gets dragged along to the end and the Ark of the Covenant finishes people off. But that's just what it is. Same with the fake out for the beginning with the Holy Lance. Like, yeah, the Holy Lance didn't play into things, but that's usually how the beginning of Indiana Jones movies are. There's a little side adventure before they get into the main thing. Let's talk about the Nazis. I think Mads Mikkelsen did a great job. I actually thought it was kind of interesting how they had the Nazis working with the Americans, Operation Paperclip style. They're like, don't really care what they're helping the Nazis with here. They just want cooperation for the moon landing. I would have liked to see more of like the secret Nazi cabal the whole time. It sometimes felt like it was just 3 or 4 of them. At the end, it's revealed that they have a bigger operation. I think that would have been interesting, maybe a conspiracy about Nazis hiding out somewhere. And again, I tie a lot of this to too much action in the middle of the movie, too much budget for car chases, even though I thought they were well executed generally, just too long, too many of them. All right, so we get to the ending sequence, and this will probably be controversial, and it might make or break the movie for people, but I liked it. Indiana Jones and the crew travel back to the raid on Syracuse. We see in Indy style that Archimedes' rumored super weapons were true. He's got his heat gun and his claws. I thought that was a nice touch. Very Indiana Jones-like. The most fantastic stuff is what's true. And I gotta say, I'm really glad they didn't let Indy stay there. I think that would have been a pretty sad ending for the character, and I like the idea that at the end, yeah, he realized he still had things to live for. One thing that's sort of been bothering me though, Indiana Jones is not allowed to stay, or at least Helena says he shouldn't stay because it could create a time paradox. However, did the plane crashing on the shores of Syracuse and on a larger scale, the plane altering the course of battle when the Romans think it's a dragon, did that not itself change the outcome of the battle and just change everything? You would think Archimedes wouldn't die as he did during the siege on Syracuse. So that's weird. Are you telling me that clever bastard isn't going to do anything with that plane to change the course of history? I don't know. I think the ending itself was also a bit rushed. Him getting knocked out, waking up in bed, Marion being there. I like the individual parts, just all together didn't necessarily work out super well. Anyway, those are my thoughts. Definitely enjoyed the movie. I gotta see it with my dad. We watched all the old Indiana Jones movies, so looking forward to that, to see his reaction. Overall though, let me know what you guys think. I can't help but think of the missed opportunities of a perhaps 1990s Indiana Jones movie. It's something I've been thinking about a lot. I don't know. I think it could have been great. I wish that Spielberg and Lucas would have been more involved in this one. But yeah, your opinions. What do you think about the plot hole I mentioned? Which was your favorite scene? Do you think the movie is going to end up maybe having some better box office legs than it looks now? I don't know. Let's see.